this is a very unique film about India's independence and the partition of India and the role of the British in that in 1947. Being a British Indian film director, it is my unique position on that history. So in the film I am challenging the British version of events and showing you what I believe was the real reason that partition happened. And my family were all involved in that, as were so many other families. So it's also the story of my own dadima, my grandma, and my chachas and buas, who were all young children then. So the film for me is dedicated to them.
Well, I was approached by the casting director first, Sahir Latif, who asked me to send an audition tape to Gurinder because she was casting for the role of Alia, and I recorded it, I sent it to her. Gurinder saw it, she liked it, which is why we're sitting here today.
What I loved about Huma's tape was that she had made some very interesting choices for the character of Alia. You know, she chose to play her, you know, very strident, very frustrated with what was going on around her, and you know, she brought a lot of intelligence to the role and to the scene that I was watching. She had made choices of what to do with her hands, what activities to do. You know, she took at the batta and, you know, was shaking it, and then through that you saw her anger, her frustration. So little things that she had done on her own accord, which impressed me, you know, as an actress.
Well, films are tough, and good films are tougher. I have never chased 100 crores or working with the big heroes or any of that. I've always chased creativity. I've chased good scripts, and I think I love the script. And of course I knew the fact that Gurinder was helming the project, and she has a very unique sensibility in terms of being like a British Asian filmmaker and being a female filmmaker. I've never worked with a female director before, so I love her work. All these were all you know, it made sense to me to do a film like this. I'd be very silly to say no to a good script and a good director and just chase something just because it has great packaging. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've never, like I said, never worked with a female director before. So she has a certain energy, she has a certain way of looking at things, which I really appreciate. I also empathize with it. I also, like it a lot. I identify with it a lot. And at the same time, you know, she's so passionate. I don't think I've ever worked with another filmmaker who's so passionate about what they're trying to say or their point of view. And I love that. She was so clear. It was such a difficult film to make, just in terms of the mounting and the scale and the story and the subject matter. But she pulled it off. I mean, hats off to her.
Yes, of course. I mean, I see the world from my perspective, and in my world, you know, half the human population is female, you know, and many of them are very, very strong characters. So often films don't reflect, you know, the world we see, particularly films made from a male perspective. So for me, it's very natural to have strong female characters because that's what I see around me. I think you have to pay a lot of attention when you're creating something, period. You know, there's a lot of research that goes into, obviously, the sets, the design, the costumes, the makeup, hair and makeup, you know, all that's very important. So I think it's just a question of research, having a good artist team that, you know, that are able to research, you know, exactly what it was like at that time, and you have to really make the audience feel that they have gone back into that era. But you can do a lot these days, you know, with costumes and props, you know.
Well, not very different from A Girl Today. In fact, I keep saying that Alia's as fierce, as independent thinking. She has strong political views. I think it's also stereotyped with saying that women back in the day didn't have those ideas or have those feelings or see the world in a particular way. Possibly they did not have, because of patriarchy and the way society was, they were not able to express themselves. But I think the women, even back in the day, I mean, they had some very, very strong opinions about how the world was and their role that that they played in it. So Alia's strong. She's fierce. She believes in an independent India. She's in love with a Hindu boy. I don't think she's any different from any other girl today. A.R. Rahman's music, it's spiritual, it's romantic, it's patriotic. It also makes us question a lot of things that we take for granted, and it talks about human values at the end of the day, how we all are equal, and no God would like us to fight amongst each other and just dividing a wall. You can divide everything else, but you can divide land, but can you divide, the birds in the air and things like that. And I think it's so beautiful, and I think every human being, no matter which part of the world you're from, you really sort of relate to those lyrics and relate to that kind of music.
I had worked with Mr. A.R. Rahman's lyricist, Navneet Kaur, and I had sent her in English what I wanted the song to be about, and I talked about the idea of healing, the idea of a heart. How can you divide a heart? So many things I spoke to her about in English, but the way she transformed it into the beautiful lyrical poetry in Hindi, I could never have imagined that she would do such an amazing job. And I found the song incredibly moving when I first heard it. Where there's a particular lyric, you said, Bandle, Parande, how will you divide the birds? How do you divide the air? It's a song that acknowledges people's pain and past sort of scars and suffering, but it also says, now let's move on, Well, I wanted to use the song, Dama Masta Gurinder, because to me that's a song that's owned by everybody. Every South Asian loves that song, whether you're Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, British, American, NRI, whatever, everybody claims that song as their own. And we were talking about a time pre-partition India, so the music had to be selected very carefully. So that was the one I definitely wanted. And then I had asked Hansraj Hans to give me another Punjabi song that was from pre-partition, and he chose Jindwa. And Jindwa is very special, and not many people will know this. You have to look at the lyrics. But the song is about a man who wants to show his sweetheart around India, and he's listing all the shares, all the towns he's going to take her to. And in it he says, Chal Delhi Shahr, Chal Lahore Shahr, Chal Multan Shahr. And so all the cities he mentions were all part of India, at that time when he's singing. Of course, now we think you can't put Lahore and Delhi together, they're two countries. But of course, at that time, it was one. So that song, is particularly special as well for me.
Well, Gurinder and I, we spoke about everything. We spoke about boys and movies and food and yeah, I mean, don't have to be a serious person to make a serious film.
And my children were there.
Yeah, they were there.
My children were there, so they were getting very upset with how hot and dirty everything was and dusty and, but they would live in the pool, and every lunchtime we would get in the pool because it was so hot. So having the children there was great. And we had a laugh, The one thing we grew very tired of, I did, was Lal Mas, because everyone just wanted to have the Rajasthani Lal Mas all the time, and I was like, oh my God. But actually, it's funny, when you're making a serious film, you're on sets, everyone is focused and serious, but aside from that, everyone's there together. We were in Jodhpur, I was there for 5 months, staying in beautiful Umaid Bhavan and other hotels, and so it's always wonderful being on set, always wonderful being able to shoot a movie, So that experience was fun, like everyone together. I think that, Huma has, I don't know, you might know, you don't know, but I think Huma's mother is a very warm and loving person. I've had the opportunity to meet her now a few times, sit with her, and she's very supportive of everything that her daughter does, and it's nice to see a strong woman, behind another strong woman.
I mean, she's a soppy mother. She loves her children. They're adorable, both of them, and she has twins. And I just see the way she is with them. It's like almost like a different side of her personality. Very caring, very nurturing, always in the smallest of things, always telling them, never taking them for granted that they're children and their intelligence is lesser than an adult. And she really has conversations with them like you would have with like a grown-up person. And I think that's such a respectful and dignified way to bring up children. That you value them as people with opinions, not just brushing them aside, ki ye to bacche hain. And I think that's beautiful.
Well, if you want to know about your history, if you want to know about your past, if you want to see history from a female perspective, from a female British Punjabi perspective, then this is your chance, And it's a film where you can come with grandparents, parents and kids. It's a good family film to see, and a landmark film now as we celebrate 70 years of independence.